Hello everyone and welcome to Deep Dishes. On this episode, we will be discussing a subject matter for a mature audience. Over 20 million people have seen the series Surviving R. Kelly. We will be discussing that subject matter as well as sexual abuse. So if you have younger viewers, you may want to consider watching this episode before you watch it with a younger audience. Thank you. And we'll be right back here on Deep Dishes. So we're back. Hello everyone. And I'll dive in and start off with the Surviving R. Kelly series. At the top, let me say that R. Kelly and his camp are stating that these allegations are false. So that needs to be said. But after watching the series, I believe these young ladies, and I had all type of emotions. At parts I was angry, I was sad, I even shed a tear here and there. It was gripping. It was tough watching as a father, as a dad. I just had an array of emotions. But I like to start off by saying this. A pedophile. What's the definition of a pedophile? The simple definition of a pedophile is a person who is sexually attracted to children. Okay? I'm going to say that again. A pedophile is a person that's sexually attracted to children. It is not promiscuous kids or bad parenting. And the reason I say that is because I had some debate on social media about the parental issue. Like, some people are talking about the parents should watch the kids, more closely. Some of the girls were promiscuous. And my issue with that is, to me, it diminishes it takes focus off of the predator. And to me, that's where the focus should be. Exactly. Should we discuss, parents being more involved and watching closely? Yes. Should we talk about our children and young girls' behavior? Yes. But I'll just give this illustration. If it's a criminal in the community that's robbing houses, you have this criminal and he's out and he's robbing houses. Some people may leave their door open. Okay? Now it's likely that the criminal will get in that house. Okay? But also you have people that they lock their doors. Even if the doors are locked, would the criminal not? Criminals don't break into homes with doors that's locked. My point in that illustration is, when I watched that series, I saw parents that were involved and their child was still violated. Their good parents' children still experience sexual abuse. Okay? Parents that's not as focused, or kids without parental guidance and that's just out there, it may be likely that they will experience that quicker than a kid that's being watched. But don't act like kids that have good parents that are watching, it won't happen. Because on that series, I saw a dad and a mom that had T's crossed, I's dotted, and
went about it the whole right way. Right,
and it was still, their daughter was sexually abused, and as we discuss and have discussions about preventing this, I just want we shouldn't lose sight that there is a predator. Okay, we can talk about locking doors and making sure but there is a predator.
Right.
And that predator, the predator needs to be removed from society, placed in jail, and
Mentally help.
And mentally help. And if someone is dealing with that and they have yet to go after a child, I hope they would get that help. Because as a dad, I said that as a dad, but as a man of God, I hear a lot of people say, well, it was a little controversial with Erykah Badu got some pushback because I saw one of her concerts in Chicago where she was like, we gotta love R. Kelly, we gotta love him. And my thing is this, God is a God, and Jeremiah says that God is a God of loving kindness, righteousness, and justice, okay? So where love is, justice is present, and righteousness. If you have love present and justice is absent, that's not true love. So you can love someone. Yes, we love them, but those victims should get justice. Okay? And I just want to say that as well, because forgiveness and love is important, but also justice for the victims, that's important as well. Okay.
I'm curious, with you being a young adult, a young female, a lot of these girls now, young adults, this happened to them when they were young teenagers. How does that make you feel? Like, what are some things that's running through your mind considering?
I mean, it's really a sad thing that happened, and it's so crazy because me being a young woman, I see it happen a lot. A lot of older men, like grown men, trying to approach people my age, and even when I was like 18, 17, older men trying to holler and stuff like that. And it's just like, come on, like we got to do better. But one thing I can say that is so important is that when me and my girls go out, we make sure we stick together. Somebody got to go to the bathroom, one of us needs to go with them. And because a lot of times these situations go down because the person's alone and people can prey on them. And of course, this situation can happen to people who are in big groups. But I'm just saying, like, as women, as young women out here, we need to make sure that we are together with our friends, calling them, checking up on them, and making sure they're okay. Yeah.
That's great. And another point I wanted to hit is, in this series, I saw a racial component. These were black girls, you know, and there's a history to that, you know. And I said this and I stand by it, and these are opinions. Some people may agree and we can agree to disagree. But I believe that if R. Kelly would have gone into a, you know, predominantly, you know, European American community, maybe an affluent community in the suburbs of Chicago, he would be in jail. If he was in the suburbs going to McDonald's trying to holler at little girls, wealthy, affluent, European American girls. But I think there's this stigma on black girls, and that they're promiscuous, they're asking for it. And then it's a marginalized community, disenfranchised. There's a history there. So where in those communities, when these black girls was crying out, people were not listening. And I think my heart go out to all victims. But in this particular case, I could not ignore that. When I saw it, it bothered me because all of these girls were young, African American, and they did not believe them. And then as I was watching the series too, it was a juror. And that juror actually said, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, he was like, you know, I didn't really believe those girls, like the way they was dressed and their body language. And you could tell this guy was what he was getting at, and he was undercurrent with it. He was like, I didn't believe them because they were black girls and the way they were dressed, they were promiscuous and just had all these stigmas, stereotypes.
It was so crazy because it just reminded me, I was in middle school at this predominantly Caucasian middle school and stuff, and me and my friend, we tried to match because it was twin day, right? And so me and her wore the same exact outfit. I forgot, I think it was either like what was it? It was shorts, like, you know, the shorts that go like halfway, like I was in dress code with me and her.
Or something?
Yeah, so we were like, you know, dressing up, trying to be cute together and everything. We're in chorus together, we were cool. And I got dress coded. And she didn't. And when I tell you, we were wearing the same exact thing, and I went to them, I was like, yo, she's wearing the same thing as me. They're like, no, that just looks no, that just does not look right on you. And when she said that, I just looked at her and I was just like, and I kid you not, she said, she was talking about the way my body shaped. And it's just so crazy how, even at that young age of me being in middle school, I got people sexualize me when I'm a kid. Mm-hmm. But she can walk freely and go skipping along in her.
Because she was a black kid. Okay.
No, yeah,
and we just got to do better as a society. These are issues that are out here, and we just got to do better.
Something I want to bring out too, and just another point to look at, is the fact of why a lot of times these things do happen. You know, a younger girl with an older guy, especially someone with money, status, and fame, is the fact that as humans, we all desire to feel loved, secure, and important. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like when you're dealing with someone as R. Kelly, he can provide all of those things, but it's false.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's false. And but there's a price to pay. You know, there is a mental price to pay as well as a physical price that you're paying when you're dealing with a situation of somebody who's taking advantage. Mm-hmm. Because to him, it's like you have somebody who have dreams. And this is the whole thing too, that we have to make sure that we understand with these young girls. It's not that they were just, I just want to be with R. Kelly. A lot of them, if you listen to their stories, they had
trying to make it.
Right, they were trying to make it. So this was the problem that I'm looking at. They had dreams. He had a plot. Mm. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like he had a plot and they had dreams, and he took advantage of the situation, you know, and abused them. Because number one, they realized that this is someone who's already in the industry, you know, already famous, already got hits, that he has everything that I need. So number one, dealing with them, a lot of them, I think a couple of them may have been virgins. You dealing with people in that situation, that's placed in that situation, you know, they get in it starstruck, but then they come into a time where it's fear, you know, that's involved, because, oh my goodness, I'm afraid to, you know, come out or to kind of deal with him because he's, you know, he's a superstar. Mm-hmm. I don't want to put his name out, you know, because of who he is. I don't know, you know, it's like a whole bunch of fears, a whole lot of doubt. Mm-hmm. You know, I have to do this because of who he is. So who will believe me? So you have a lot of these mixed emotions dealing with these young girls. A lot of them, nobody asked to be raped. Nobody asked to be molested. You are dealing with sin. You are dealing with evil, and you are dealing with someone who, number one, is mentally challenged themselves to even want to do this to another human being, to demoralize them and place them in situations of captivity and being in imprisonment to something that they felt that they were trying to, to explore. Mm-hmm. I have a gifting, I have a desire, but you're taking advantage. Mm-hmm. And we have to make sure that we understand what this was about. This was really about young girls who had a dream to make it in the industry of entertainment, and you had a person who had evil intent that preyed on that and took advantage of these young girls.
Wow. And I think as a community, what you talked about is having that friends looking out for each other. I think the way we overcome this in our community is accountability partners. We need to be watchful as a community. It's going to take a team of people to stop this. Yeah. You know, to rid community, because R. Kelly's not alone. There's predators around. Yeah. But we have to be nosy like old school people, you know, looking out the window. Girl, I saw, you know, call people. We have to be nosy. We have to be mindful. We have to talk to young people. We have to engage them, you know.
Engage them. Something I was just in here thinking about when you're talking about young people. Number one, they're young. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're mature. And, you know, a great deal of them are immature. But when you're dealing with a young mind, you have to think about it this way. A young mind is soil for corruption. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, meaning, it's like with that young mind, it's like they can easily be, filled with, all types of things and exploited because number one, they're young, and so they're put in positions and put in places that they shouldn't be put in position and in place of. And number one, I think part of that reason too is, like you said, we have to play our part as neighbors, as parents, as friends, as a community,
as the church,
as the
that's
church.
what I want to get to too, because fellowship is so important. Because we know the scripture says that bad company will destroy good morals. So if you raising your kid right, but you allow them to just be in bad company all the time, those morals will be compromised. So I think that's why the fellowship is important. And I'm talking about a God-centered fellowship, to have your kids involved in ministry and to have them around other believers. It's a team effort.
It's a team effort, but I charge leaders.
Of course.
I charge leaders that when you do have young people who may not be the same as yourself or from a different background or culture, we have to see each other as really one culture. We're the culture of Christ. We're one family, one unit, and we have to see each other as such and not say they're different and we kind of stand away from that, but we have to bridge that because that is really a game call for Satan to come in and to destroy. So like youth leaders, children leaders, pastors, we have to make sure that we are responsible enough with handling souls to make people feel a part of the fold. If you have somebody coming into your ministry, get involved. Know who they are. If you have like a new person coming into your youth group, make them feel welcome. Have people, who have their eyes set on the new people coming in to make them feel a part of the team.
Yeah, because you never know, like, once you get all the young people involved in church, you never know what kind of stories can come out of them. But like, people can get comfortable enough to be like, hey, I was molested by this person, and say somebody knows that person, they can go ahead and handle that situation on site.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because once you get them comfortable enough to open up about all those troubles they're dealing with, they can heal, because God is like the ultimate healer.
He is,
and that's what people need.
Yeah, and we have to communicate. Like I said before, on a previous episode, I talked about I'm a bus driver, and I'm very vigilant. I watch, and if I see a kid looking down, or I talk to my kids. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? And through me developing a relationship, just consistently being there, I let them know that I'm open for them to communicate with me, and I'm engaging them. I've had one situation where a kid was being bullied and felt comfortable enough to come to me and say, yo, Mr. B, I'm having an issue. And I was able to go into school, and we got, we dealt with it.
Right.
So I just want to push that a little bit too, that we engage young people and ask questions. Again, the community effort is what rids the community of these wolves. We have to pull together.
And just two scriptures I was just reading over. Psalm 103:6 says, the Lord works righteousness and justice for all the oppressed. Psalm 11:5 says, the Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, he hates with a passion. And it's like and I brought that up to say, everything that is done, don't think for one moment you're getting away with it. God is present, and people who do evil, you will be dealt with. Whether in this life or the next, you will definitely have to answer for the things that you've done wrong to people and hurting people. It's not a matter of you just hurting people and it goes away. When you hurt people in this manner, it's a lifetime pain that people deal with. It's an ongoing feeling of, you put yourself in this situation of fear, and just all mental things that people have to get help with, going to see counselors, because you need counseling when you go through something that's traumatic. It's hurtful, it's painful. And a lot of girls and young women, one of the things too, something that happens is that when something on this level they experience it. A lot of them become promiscuous, you know, and get involved in things. So I'm just saying to you, like Brian was saying, we definitely have to be mindful and watchful as people. But do know that God is watching as well. And those individuals who are harming others, you will definitely have to pay the price.
Yeah.
And young men, boys, if this has happened to you, know that you're not the only guy who has been in this situation. Because I feel like sometimes we can focus so much in on the women and stuff, but and not to belittle that or anything. But yeah, but like it's important to know, man, that y'all aren't the only ones. You're not any less of a man because of that. You can still go to people, and they're not going to look down upon you. Like, you just gotta get help too. Because I mean, I know that you you want to be strong, but sometimes you gotta lean on people, man. For real.
And as we wrap this up, I just want to say this and push this point, and it is not your fault. And that's what I don't like about the argument about the parents not being there, or the child being promiscuous. You know, if you at a party and you young and you get drunk, you know, it is not your fault that someone violates you.
Take advantage of you.
Okay? Because it's wrong. It's wrong to violate another human being, to sexually assault someone, even if they're in a vulnerable position, in a place where they have made an error. We are to protect, not prey on people. And I want to just say that it is not your fault. It's not your fault. If you've been attacked by that wolf, it's not your fault. As a community, we have to pull together. And we'll come back and do another episode and talk about sexual abuse, child abuse, and deal with these tough issues. And here on Deep Dishes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about lighter things, but we also want to deal with challenging subject matter that's at the center of the public square. And we always want to shine a biblical worldview and perspective on it.
And if you have gone through any of these matters that we have been talking about, whether it be rape, molestation, sexual abuse, or anything like that, we will leave information down in the description below, a phone number, a hotline for you to call so you can speak up for yourself. Because now is the time, and we hope you find the courage.